Hi BookTube, it's Stephanie. So I decided that I would give you a library haul today. All of these books that I have out right now all have about the same. It's not like, oh, one or two of them are going back in 3 days. Like all of them are pretty even. So like if I was in a real reading mood, which I kind of am, but still not, I should be able to finish all of them, but not gonna happen because I have my own books that I also want to read. But yeah, several of these I've definitely mentioned on lists like this before, in hauls like this before. So yeah, but I will keep on borrowing them until I actually read them. I will not really give too much of a synopsis in this one because if I actually put them on my TBR or I read them, I will talk about them then. So let's start with sequels. I have 2 in this pile of 9 books, I think. 5, yeah, 9 books. And the first one is Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett, which is the sequel to Frondicide. I really liked Frondicide. It has a really cool magic system in which things are inscribed in this specific like writing that makes things move or fly or do certain things that the inscriber inscribes the object to do, and that concept is really cool. And I should have read this years ago. I really enjoyed the first book, but yeah, obviously this is massive. So the second sequel that I have is Ancillary Sword by Ann Leckie, another one that I should just have gotten to ages ago, but I have not. And this is the sequel to Ancillary Justice, and that one follows a humanoid AI, or how to put it. Basically, the person used to be a ancillary unit, part of a ship's AI, in which, so we have the ship with the AI and then a bunch of like people who have gotten this AI downloaded with technology into their brains, and we are following an ancillary unit who is the last one from this particular spaceship because traitors and things like that, and the whole ship blew up. So this person is the last one from that ship, and she's after revenge. That's basically it. And this one takes place after that one. That one was a lot of like go back and forth in time, which is a slight issue with me, but I think that one did it okay. Not too bad in my opinion, because the chapters were long enough basically. But yeah, I am looking forward to see what happens later on in this series. So now it doesn't really matter which books I'm talking about, so let's start with Journey to the Center of the World by Jules Verne. One of the classics by this author that I've not read. I had an episode or period when I was like 14, 15 where like, oh, I need to read classics. And Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, I read some of them, and this one was one that I, for some reason, never picked up. But this one is basically following a bunch of people finding a cave, and then they travel to the center of the world. Yeah, it's a classic fantasy book, and yeah, I know what happens. I have seen clips of movies. I've never really seen a whole movie actually. But yeah, this is one of those classics that are referenced a lot, and I don't think really anyone is completely unspoiled for this one when they start reading it. Then we have one that I picked up because I tend to like the trope when I read fan fiction. I tend to like the trope of fake dating, fake marriage, things like that. So I decided, let's see if I like it in a fantasy romance, because I'm not really that much of a romance person because a lot of things just fly over my head. Being asexual does that to you, but a romantic asexual does that too. So this is Not the Witch You Wed by April Asher, and this one we are following two main characters. The first one being a medicless witch whose heart was broken by the other main character, a wolf shifter. However, they are being pushed from both sides to find a mate, and so they decide to fake date and things like that, and obviously feelings happens, because why wouldn't it? But yeah, I am looking forward to at least try this. It sounds fun, and if this had been a fan fiction, I probably would have already read it. Then let's go to two that I know that I've talked about before. If I haven't talked about them in library halls, I definitely talked about them in TBRs or things like that. And the first one is the Southern Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. Yes, I'm aware this is a horror. Yes, I don't really read horror. Am I going to pretend that this isn't horror? Yes. Basically that's it. And it's basically what it's on the tin. A book club's guide to slaying vampires. The main character thinks that someone is a vampire, and yeah. I've heard good things about this one, so that's also one of the reasons why I want to get to it. And I don't really think that a lot of people mentioning that much horror in it, so I am so crossing my fingers for that one. Next we have Henge by Natalie Sina Walschutz, something like that. And in this one we are following a girl who is a personal assistant to a villain, because that's how she made money basically. And one day she ends up in an accident when a hero tries to save the day, and she's one of the lucky ones because she survived. And she gets badly injured because of it. She then also gets fired from her job and things like that, and she wants revenge. And even though she is not really able to do much, she knows how to collect data, she knows how to use it, and so she will. So a revenge book from the villain's side, if you will. Next book is also a revenge story, and that is Skyborn by David Dalgleish. I am so sorry. But in this one we are following another set of siblings, because I talked about siblings from my book haul. But this follows a set of siblings who is training to become Seraphim, because they live on these floating islands where the last remnants or something like that of humanity lives, but humanity is locked in a civil war. The siblings' parents died in said war, and they want revenge. Next one, I will literally just read a synopsis for you, but that is Tooth and Claw by Jo Walton. This is another classic fantasy book that won some awards. And yeah, I'm just going to literally read a synopsis. A family deals with the death of their father. A son goes to court for his inheritance. Another son agonizes over his father's deathbed confession. One daughter becomes involved in the abolition movement, while another sacrifices herself for her husband. This is where I changed it a little bit. Here is a world of politics and train stations, of churchmen and family retainers, of courtship and country houses, in which, on the death of an elder, family member gather to eat the body of the deceased, in which the great and the good avail themselves of the privilege of killing and eating the weaker children, which they do with ceremony and relish, thereby growing stronger. And everyone in the tale is a dragon, red in tooth and claw. I did change that because that last line is over that last paragraph, and I don't think it should be. But yeah, so this is a story following dragons as the main characters. Yeah, it sounds hilarious. And let's be honest, it might not be hilarious, it might be extremely serious, but I have not read it yet. And then we have The Return of Fitzroy Angersell by Victoria Goddard. And this one follows a person who is revered. He is the last emperor of this place, and he is a very important mage. And the secret is that he's not. Before he's ascended the throne, he has a secret because he's not known by that name, and he enters a grave to get something, and yeah, he breaking into the tomb of the first emperor. And that's it. He could have gotten there without any issues, but yeah, he has another name. Yeah. And now, before anything falls down, have you read any of these books? What did you think? Is there anyone that you think that I should just get to as soon as possible? Please tell me down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Okay. Now we can breathe.